It does not meet the test of a currency. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not around in 10 or 20 years.
I think it's primarily going to be a means of doing illegal transactions.
If you're stupid enough to buy it, you'll pay the price for it one day.
Cryptocurrencies are the first step to a world with a global, programmable money.
There are still so many misconceptions, and none of us knows what the future holds. But one thing is certain, the future is clearly crypto.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
This is your look behind the curtain. Each episode, I will attempt to tackle a particular aspect of the traditional financial market or market segment to highlight the inefficiencies and waste that exist in this space, and to highlight how cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology can dramatically improve or replace those systems. As you know, I've been involved in this space for nearly 5 years, and most of the misconceptions and questions that people new to crypto have don't illustrate that they don't understand Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, but rather that they don't really understand money or our current financial system. Henry Ford was once quoted as saying, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." Now, this was nearly a century ago, but I think it rings more true today than ever. In 2008, the financial crisis was primarily caused by deregulation in the financial industry that permitted banks to engage in hedge fund trading with derivatives. Banks then demanded more mortgages to support the profitable sale of those derivatives. Banks were encouraged to lend money to people that they knew would never be able to afford the mortgages. At the same time, those banks were creating new financial derivatives that would allow them to bet against those mortgages. Essentially, they were selling mortgages that they knew people would default on and making new financial instruments that allowed them to bet on the fact that those mortgages would fail. If you want a more detailed explanation, there's plenty of info out there on the web, and I also highly recommend watching a movie called The Big Short. It's entertaining, but it also gives a fairly accurate picture of exactly what happened. One of my favorite quotes from that movie is, "When the dust settled from the collapse, $5 trillion in pension money, real estate value, 401k savings, and bonds had disappeared. 8 million people lost their jobs, 6 million lost their homes, and that was just in the USA. The very people responsible for this travesty were bailed out by the U.S. government with tax dollars of hardworking Americans in order to keep the banks solvent because they were too big to fail." And to add insult to injury, many of the chief executive officers that were responsible for this fiasco gave themselves millions of dollars in bonuses from the government bailout money. Nobody went to jail, nobody was indicted, essentially no one was held accountable. This sparked the Occupy Wall Street movement that saw ordinary citizens that were affected by this disaster protesting the big banks and financial institutions and demanding their money back. Like most protests and movements, they ultimately failed to effect any meaningful or real change. Bitcoin has been referred to as the Occupy Wall Street, but with teeth. The creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, embedded the following headline into the Genesis block, or the first block of the Bitcoin blockchain. It read, "Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." This was in the Times newspaper dated 3 January 2009. I think Satoshi realized that if the U.S. government couldn't stand up to the banking and financial elites, what chance did anyone have to make a difference? Bitcoin was invented not as a way to fight against the current system, but instead to opt out and build an entirely new financial system, a system regulated by math, cryptography, and advanced economic game theory that promotes transparency, financial inclusion, and is poised to disrupt and disintermediate the current financial systems.
All right, so welcome back. If this is not your first time listening, welcome. If it is your first time, this is the Clearly Crypto Podcast with your host, Cory, and
I'm Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. Nice to be here again with you today.
Absolutely love being here and talking about this stuff. So
Episode 2.
Yeah,
what are we
rolling now?
Yeah, what are we going to talk about today? I believe wallets, security. You're going to help explain what value is.
I'm going to give it my best shot. We'll see if it's as clear as I want it to make it. If it's clearly crypto.
Well, that's what we're shooting for. We'll find out. So hang around and enjoy. Remember, you can give us all your feedback on all the Twitters and Telegrams and Facebooks.
All that social media stuff you kids are doing these days.
Which, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this last episode, but all you have to do is go and search on Twitter or Telegram or Facebook, Clearly Crypto. We're going to pop up. And if you want to go old school and email us, it's clearlycryptopod@gmail.com. That's all one word. And you got our ears. And we're going to try to do our best to answer everybody.
Yeah, and if you want something covered in a future episode, let us know, and I'll do my best, and Cory will help, and we'll see if we can tackle that, dissect it, maybe answer a question or clear something up for you.
Yeah, and we'll even, hey, we want you to be involved, so you're going to get a shout out. We'll put your name out there for the literally dozens of people that are listening to this podcast right now.
Absolutely.
So hang around, stick with us, and hope you enjoy it. Well, now that you're into this crypto space, this whole segment, world, whatever it is, you got your cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
Where do I keep it safe and how?
Okay, so we'll assume that you've got some cryptocurrency, or you want to get some. We'll just start with Bitcoin for now, although a lot of the same principles and things apply to other cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Monero, whatever the case might be. So how do you keep them safe? I think that's really important to talk a little bit about security because it's a different security model than we're used to. As we said on the last episode, it's a paradigm shift. So we tend to think in terms of the old financial system where you have custodial accounts. Your bank's going to keep your money for you. Those models don't apply in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrency. Essentially, you're responsible for keeping your own coins safe. So how do we do that? Well, there's a couple options when we're talking about wallets and how to hold your coins. You can have a hardware wallet, which is probably the best option in my opinion, highly recommended. That's the most safe, secure, and usually the easiest method to secure your coins.
Right. So hardware wallet, you're talking like a Trezor or
yeah, the two. So you can find a lot of them out there. And in fact, a friend of mine said, "Hey, is this hardware wallet good?" the other day, and it wasn't anything that I'd ever heard of. It was some kind of third-party knockoff on Amazon. I don't recommend that. So right now in this space, there's I think two that are really trustworthy. You either need to get a Trezor, and there's several models of that you can get, or you need to get yourself a Ledger. What I have is a Ledger Nano S and just the first generation of Trezor. But those, you can really put your cryptocurrency on those. You can secure it safely, and you can be pretty much 100% sure that your coins aren't going to be compromised. So if you have those coins secured by those hardware wallets, you could plug that into the most virus-infected computer in the world, and you could safely spend your Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency without worrying that it was going to get hacked into or that you were going to lose that.
All right, so hardware wallet.
Hardware wallet, that's probably your number one choice. Now, the drawback to that is they're not free. They're not giving them out. And with
mine was free, but you gave it to me for Christmas. So.
Well, you're welcome. But that's not the case. I'm not sending all of our listeners a Trezor.
Oh, come on, man. Cheap ass.
And the company that produces those have caught on to the cryptocurrency boom and has jacked the price up along with that. So I think right now a Trezor will set you back about $150, somewhere in there.
Depending on how much you have, though, that might be, I mean, we have a safe in our closet.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly right. It depends on how much money you're having.
Don't come to my house and look at my closet, by the way.
Yeah. So going to the next wallet solution, you could get a mobile wallet. You could download a wallet onto your Android phone or your iPhone, and you can use that. And I would say that's pretty safe as long as you take a couple measures to make sure you're secure in your coins. I usually don't keep any more on there than I would feel comfortable carrying around cash.
So we're talking stuff like mycelium, or I mean, there's a boatload of them.
Yeah, Bread Wallet's pretty good. There's a few others out there. Electrum's pretty good. So
yeah, if you go to your store, like the iTunes store or the Google Play store, and just put in crypto wallet or Bitcoin wallet, and you're going to have 100 of them pop up.
Right. Do a Google search, what are the best mobile wallets to store Bitcoin or whatever, and they'll give you the positives and negatives of each one. So you can keep some there. If you have a small amount, a few $100s or something, that's perfectly adequate to keep them on your phone, and you can carry that around, spend it on different purchases out there.
Okay.
And the third one really that's out there is a web wallet. And I don't recommend that. There's some out there that are okay, but really I think you want to try to stay towards having something either on a hardware wallet on your phone, maybe something stored locally on your computer. Having something on a web wallet is usually not the best.
Okay. Of course, there is a fourth option in there. Paper wallets. They're kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, I know those came about a long time ago, didn't they?
Yeah, you can't really spend from a paper wallet.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at what they call cold storage, you can print out a paper wallet, send some Bitcoin to that address that's on it, and then it goes back to physical security. How safe can you keep that piece of paper?
Sticking your wrap of $100 bills in your vault inside your own house,
right?
Essentially.
Yeah.
So if you're long-term storing paper wallet.
Yeah, I don't recommend going that way unless you know what you're doing, though, because there's a lot of services out there that will create paper wallets for you, but you have to be very careful about the manner in which you create a paper wallet, because
they have my private key.
If they got your private keys, they got your Bitcoin, or they got whatever particular cryptocurrency. So
okay, so we're not financial advisors,
right?
But you would say don't even worry about a paper wallet.
No, not at this point. No,
okay.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Okay. All right. So
if you're that worried about security, then you probably have a large enough amount of coins where it's worth a significant amount of money, and then you need to probably just invest in a hardware wallet anyway.
Okay. So what are some of the things you can do with a wallet?
You can store your coins in them, and you can send your coins through a wallet. A wallet is essentially, it aggregates your private keys and your public keys.
So it makes visible to other people when you want your public key so that they can send it to you, or you can use yours to send stuff to other people, entities.
Right. It essentially manages those for you. So usually most wallets will have a send and a receive button on them. So if you are looking to get some Bitcoin, you can hit the receive. It usually pops up a QR code. Individual who wants to give you some can then scan that and send it to your wallet, and vice versa. So it's just it's an app that helps you send and receive whatever cryptocurrency. I think it's important to note as well that a lot of those apps and different wallets, some of them are not custodial wallets. And what I mean by that, so here's a good litmus test. Do you own your Bitcoin? And how do you know that you own your Bitcoin? I'm posing that to you, Cory. So if you download a wallet right now on your phone or on your computer, if you don't know if it's a web wallet or a mobile wallet or whatever, how do you know that you own your Bitcoin and that you're securing them? Pass? Okay.
Can I phone a friend?
Fair enough.
I'd like to call Aaron.
Okay. So if you have a wallet and that wallet prompts you to generate or back up your seed phrase, it's usually, you got one, that's good.
Yeah.
That means they're your Bitcoins. So it's usually 12 to 24 words, and those words essentially generate your private keys, which in turn generate your public address.
So they've generated my public address.
Yes. So if you hadn't been prompted to write those words down and you hadn't backed that up, then that means that you have your coins in a custodial wallet. So whatever wallet you're using is owned essentially by a third party, and that's their Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency. Now, most likely they'll release it to you or send it to whoever or execute whatever transaction with your coins when you request. But ultimately, they own your coins. So if they go under or they disappear or they decide that they don't want to execute whatever transaction, then that's their Bitcoin. They don't have to.
Okay, and that's why. So if you have money, which we're going to talk about, the worst place probably to keep your cryptocurrency, your Bitcoin, is on the exchange once you buy it.
On exchanges, yes.
So they have custodial.
Right, and that's the number one mistake that new people do, and we just saw this recently with a cryptocurrency in Japan, actually, where we were at. So far, I think to date was the largest hack of a cryptocurrency, but it was a hack of the exchange. So somebody got access to the exchange, and they were able to wipe out, I think, over like $300 million worth of money. But that's because people purchased this currency and then they left it on the exchange in a custodial wallet. So that means that that particular exchange owned those coins essentially.
But I didn't leave my money on the exchange, so bad luck for them.
Exactly. So usually if you're on an exchange, that's great. You buy your cryptocurrency, but before you even purchase it, you better have a wallet that you plan to move it to. So as soon as you have access to those coins, you can withdraw them from that wallet and then secure it yourself. Because another issue that creates is it creates honeypots. So when you have an exchange and they have billions of dollars of cryptocurrency stored in these wallets, well, of course, hackers are going to go after that.
Look
it makes
at that.
it easier. It honeypots it, yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to where if you pull your $1,000 off or worth, then
the pool, the pot's a lot smaller, not as appealing of a target, alluring. There you go. So, and with all this wallet stuff, we're talking about security.
Yeah, a new security model. So before you could trust third parties to take care of your money for you, and that's what banks do. You deposit your money, they take a small portion of that money and they lend it out to other people. And
can't they lend it like 10 times over?
Yeah,
if I put $1,000 in, they can lend out $100,000 worth, and that's my money that they're speculating on.
Yeah, fractional reserve banking. That's another.
That's insane.
It is.
I didn't realize that until a few days ago. I didn't even. That's a thing. I can't wrap my head around that. That's my money.
Yeah. Well, kinda. It's not. Well, it's the bank's money.
But it's because they have custodial custody.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. A lot of this, it's a paradigm shift. You really have to kind of open your mind to thinking about the way that we do things, the way that the current system works, and the way that the new financial system is going to work, and which one's better. There's pros and cons. There's some cons to Bitcoin as well. If you make a mistake, Cory, if you miss a zero or a decimal place when you're sending it, and you hit confirm and send that to me, well, that's now mine.
Well, that's why I get the cold shakes every time I send it.
Did
I do it right? Checking all those numbers. Oh my God.
But there's software that's getting better. Even when you use a Trezor, it asks you multiple times, "This is a large amount of money. Are you sure you want to send this?" Because I've made that mistake where I put an extra digit, fat fingered it, or whatever. But if you are taking the time to paying attention to what you're doing.
Well, that's where I know, and a thing you taught me to do too is like when you're not sure, when you're getting used to it, send a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Make sure it goes to the right place, and then go ahead and send the whole amount later.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're new, this is your first time getting in Bitcoin in your wallet, it's good to have a wallet, have it backed up. Make sure you have those words written down somewhere safe. You never put those on a computer or on the internet. Don't take a picture of it with your smartphone, anything like that. Make your purchase through the exchange, and then withdraw it essentially as soon as you can. But doing a small test amount is good as well, just to make sure that you've done it correctly. So if you bought $1,000 worth, transfer $10 out, make sure it goes. It's kind of cool. You can see how that works, how the transactions work. And then when you're confident that, hey, okay, I got it, now it's on, in my wallet, then withdraw the rest of it. All
right. So that's wallet is security, and it's also your interface for spending your currency.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of the terms are misleading too. We talk about wallets and coins and things, but there are no wallets really. It's
Yeah, well, people like tangible things.
Yeah,
and I know when my ass cheek is sitting on my wallet, I know what that is.
Right.
So I can apply that to this digital thing that is nebulous to me. So now I have kind of a comprehension, but yeah, that helps. So my wallet is my security and my interface to the rest of the world.
Right. So that would be my suggestion, just to kind of wrap that whole segment up, is if you're looking for a wallet, I highly recommend hardware wallets. Get yourself a Trezor or a Ledger. If not, find a good mobile wallet. Mycelium's good. Bread Wallet is good. Make sure you back up those seed words.
Right, because if I lose my phone, somebody takes it and they hack into it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I have my seed words, I should be able to.
Yes, you can restore your wallet with your seed words. So whether your phone crashes, you lose it, it gets destroyed, your coins are still safe. You just download that same wallet or even another wallet, because It's not proprietary, so if you
Okay.
have those seed words generated from Bread Wallet, you can load them into your Trezor or whatever else, and it'll regenerate your wallet. So.
Okay. And the same is true of the hardware wallets as well. If they get run over by a car or dunked into some water or whatever and they're dead, you still have your seed words.
Yes, exactly. So you can back it up as long as you've kept that safe. So
Okay, so if you wanted to drive home one point right now, it would be seed words. Important. Keep safe.
Keep them safe. Don't expose them to anything electronic.
Don't let your 3-year-old write them down for you.
Yeah.
You want to be able to read them.
Don't take a picture of them with your cell phone. Don't keep it on your desktop.
I was going to post it to Facebook. Look what I just
Right.
did.
You'd be surprised. People have done similar things.
If you do want to do that, send it to me. All right, guys. So keep your money safe. It is your money after all.
Right.
So you want to be in this space. You want to get involved. Let's keep it safe.
Right. With great power comes great responsibility. It's your money. Nobody can censor it. But you have to have some responsibility to keep that secure.
Damn it. I don't like responsibility.
I know. It's hard.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay.
Now, I haven't really been in this space for too long, but there's all this jargon bantered around, and I always sound like a noob because my jaw's on the floor and I have gray matter leaking out of my ear because I don't understand what the hell people are talking about.
Yeah, if you read a Reddit forum and you're new to it, you'll think they're retarded or it's a new
FUD, huddle,
Poon. Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think what we want to do for this segment, should be a reoccurring segment for you guys to help you not sound like noobs to everybody else and kind of get your head in the space. Is we're going to tackle some of the jargon and figure out what the hell people are talking about.
Yeah.
So I have my jargon expert sitting over here to my left. So Aaron, this is the one I hear all the time, and it might not necessarily be jargon, but
Right.
I hear the word constantly. Value.
Right.
What the literal is value?
Yeah. That's a good question. Okay, so I guess when we talk about value, you have to talk about what gives things value, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are confused when they don't understand why cryptocurrency is worth what it is. You know, how can something that's been created from nothing be worth anything? So let's take a look at what is. You hear people say Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Well, what is intrinsic value? What does that even mean? It just sounds kind of like an abstraction, right?
People want it?
People want it, yeah. So does gold have intrinsic value?
Well, only in the fact that, it can do stuff. You can make stuff out of it that's pretty, that people want. If that's your measure of value...
Right. Well, I think nothing has intrinsic value. That implies that it has value absent of human beings.
That's true.
Because you have to be human or...
My cat doesn't care about gold.
No. You have to be human to give something value, really. So, if you were starving to death or dying of thirst in the Sahara Desert and I had 20 gold coins and a jug of water, which one would you take?
Okay, yeah. Point taken.
So... if it has utility at the time to you, then it has value. So that's, I think, how we can equate why these cryptocurrencies and why these tokens have value, right?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So, but people still don't understand what the value in them is.
Yeah, it's not real. How does it have value?
Right. Well, it is. It's real. Just because, people say, well, I can't hold it, I can't touch it. It's not real. It can't have any value. It's ether. It's,
Yeah, but I can hold my dollar
smoke
bill.
and mirrors.
I can hold my dollar bill. It has value.
Yeah.
I'm setting you up for that one.
Yeah, right. So 98, I think it's 98, somewhere in the high 90s% of fiat money or government issued and controlled money that's circulating around the globe is only circulating in computer databases as ones and zeros. Obviously, there are still some physical currencies out there. We live in Japan. There's still largely a physical currency. There's a lot of yen. There's a lot of dollars floating around. But most of it is all just abstract in a computer, ones and zeros. When the Federal Reserve prints another $1 trillion, they're essentially just adding that to a database and then distributing it out to the other central banks branches, who are then in turn loaning it out to financial institutions and banks.
So wait, you're saying money is already digital?
Money's already digital. By and large, it is already digital currency.
So okay. Not sure where to go from there, honestly, because that's not the way we think of money. Money is like, I go to the bank, they give me money.
Right. That's not money.
But that dollar bill is really just a token.
Yeah, it's a placeholder
for a digital thing that they have out there.
Money in general, I think people don't understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, not because they don't understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but because they don't understand money and financial markets and really what those are. So when you turn it on its head, it's really difficult to grasp that, what it is. But money is an abstraction. Money is just an expression of value. It's almost a language. Code has been ruled language by the United States federal government.
Okay.
Is legally language. So now we have digital programmable currency, which is essentially code. So that's language. It's a value expression. If I'm trading you $10 for your skateboard, I'm just essentially saying this is what I think it's worth, and you're saying yes, I'll accept that because I think that's what it's worth. So So it's really an abstraction what money is and why we trade things for certain dollar amounts.
All right. So value it's a very subjective thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now when you have large scale, we have collective subjectivity on a dollar is widely recognized that it's worth $1. But that's almost a shared illusion that we all agree that it has that value.
Yeah.
So things have value because we agree that they are worth value.
So the bigger part of the market that the cryptocurrencies become, literally the more valuable they will be able to be, because people have confidence. I mean, confidence has a lot to do with value too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a part of it. There's several things that make money good money, and one of them is their ability to purchase goods and services.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the U.S. dollar, it's what OPEC is based on. It's what so many other currencies base their value of something on.
Right.
Because we built that veneer of confidence over the top of it.
Right.
Which is what cryptocurrency we're currently trying to recreate in that aspect of value.
Yes. So the more people that use it, the more people that accept it, the more widely it becomes adopted. In theory, the more that it will become worth and the less volatile that it will become. So they're all kind of interlinked.
I'd say, yeah, and it's really volatile right now because there's not very much of it.
Yeah, it's still a small market cap, and it's not being used for everyday purchases. There are things you can buy, and in fact, being that we live in Japan, Japan has been very receptive. It is probably leading the way as one of the countries that's actually adopting it and using it for everyday purchases. There's a lot of large retailers, chains within Japan that will accept Bitcoin as payment. And also a lot of local mom and pop shops, one of our favorite pizza places.
Yeah, I remember was 2016 I bought, was it a $56 pizza?
Yeah, pizza and beer.
And
I think we had it.
And I paid Bitcoin for that because I had just got it. I had my mycelium wallet on my phone, and I scanned it, and now it was a $2,000 pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts when you look at it that way, but at least it's not bad as the first guy, Laszlo, that spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 pizzas, which would now be worth some odd tens of millions of dollars. But as it becomes adopted, and it's already made huge strides and is growing, by the day, the volatility will decrease and the price should increase.
Okay.
It's simple supply and demand. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created. They're divisible down to 8 decimal places, so essentially each Bitcoin has 100 million units within it that can be transferred or exchanged. But when you have a limited supply like that, so that's why you'll hear it called like digital gold, because it does have scarcity.
Yeah.
And that scarcity that can't be revoked or turned off. It's hard
you can't
built
make
into the protocol.
more than there's ever going to be.
Right. It's within the rules of the protocol. If you change that, you can't. It's hard coded into the protocol. So.
Okay.
And they're released on a steady schedule.
All right.
Over time.
So the value of it is its scarcity, its trustworthiness, its ability to be traded.
Right. So yeah, we did get a little off topic there, but
it's all part of that's why it's so
hard to separate it.
Because you used one word, value, to concentrate all these ideas into one word.
Right.
So that's where in this space, when we start talking about it and people start dropping value, it implies hundreds of concepts.
Right.
And distills it into that one thing. So I get lost in the conversation because, well, this thing has this such and such value.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know?
So it's
a big conversation.
It is. It's a lot to digest and take it in, but that's why we're doing this for you guys to hopefully kind of shed some new light on it so that it's digestible. But
if you guys get half the epiphanies that I get doing this, then you're going to be doing really well.
But going back to try to wrap it up, I guess, the reason it has the value is because it does have tremendous utility. Just like we said, if you're starving to death and dying of thirst in a desert, you're going to want the water over the gold. Well, if you're part of the 5 billion people on the planet that don't have access to any sort of banking services, you can't get a bank account, you can't get a credit card, you can't send money home to your family in their neighboring country without physically taking it to them. Well, then you start looking at a global, decentralized digital currency that you can essentially safely secure your money in a digital format. You can send it to anybody that you want without permission, without borders, that can also act as micro-lending services and do all the things that the current financial system does just by downloading an app. Then you start to ask, well, does this have utility? Does this have value? And that's why you've seen the explosion in popularity and the corresponding price rise along with that. Because there is tremendous utility and value in that, and it's only going to grow as we can continue to build this economy.
Awesome. All right, well, that clears things up a little bit for me, I think. So, appreciate it, Aaron.
Okay, I hope it helped.
Yeah, it helped me a little bit.
All right.
Cool. All right, Aaron, let's talk blockchain. What is a blockchain?
Yeah, that's so you hear a lot about that, and you'll read a lot about that in the news as well, that companies are adopting blockchain technology. Blockchain is the revolution. So what is blockchain exactly? Well, that is a part of the protocol that essentially validates all of the transactions in the network. So to talk about blockchain, I think it helps to talk a little bit about mining. We'll do a quick overview on that. So essentially, in this protocol, we've said that it's open, it's peer-to-peer. That means that everybody has a copy of the records, all participants in the network, that show every transaction that has ever occurred on the network, so within Bitcoin.
Okay, so for my more artistic brain, if you will, I like to visualize. So when I hear ledger,
right,
I think some nerdy old accountant sitting behind a desk with his pens and his erasers writing on this giant book.
Right.
But while he's writing in his book, nerdy little accountant people are sitting all over the world, and it's showing up magically in their books at the same time that he's writing it down.
Yes.
That's how I see ledger.
Sure. if that helps you to
Is that not analogous?
No, it is. It is.
Okay.
It's pretty close, actually. So what Bitcoin miners are doing is they're engaged in a competition to include transactions in that ledger. And how they do that is by clumping them together in a block. And essentially there's a complicated math problem that they have to solve. Once they solve that, all of the transactions that they've clumped in that block are valid. They then stamp that as good. I found the solution. Here we've included all these different transactions. Here's my mathematical proof. And then they broadcast that out to the network.
Is the first come, first serve
yes,
on that?
It's a
everybody's
it's a race.
Racing as fast as
That's
they
right.
can to get to solve this math problems. God, this is nerdy.
Yeah, it's super nerdy, but it's kind of cool.
But it's not people with slide rules and calculators doing this. It's all machines.
It's all machines.
Somebody wrote the software. You throw it on this piece of hardware, and its job is I'm going to solve some freaking math problems.
That's right. So you used to be able to mine on your laptop computer. Technically, you still can. However, you're never going to even get close to solving the equation. But you used to be able to mine, and you could actually solve them and get rewarded with Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you're not going to beat a bank of GPUs right now.
No, that's the thing. Is so that's obviously progressed, and they have what are called ASIC miners, application-specific integrated circuits.
That'd be bringing my Toyota Corolla to an IndyCar race.
Yeah, not even. That'd be like riding your turtle backwards. Racing the space shuttle, and even then, I don't think that that's quite a fair comparison, as opposed to a laptop and an ASIC. So, but anyway, the reason they're doing that is when they solve the equation, they get rewarded by the protocol with freshly minted Bitcoin.
Yeah, so it's roughly 10 minutes.
Yeah, about every 10 minutes, the heartbeat of Bitcoin thumps, a block is solved. And whoever solved that equation by including the new transactions into the block gets rewarded with that Bitcoin.
How much is that right now?
So currently it's at 12.5.
Oh, 12.5 Bitcoin.
Yeah, it started out as 50 Bitcoin. So when it was launched, it was 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes got rewarded to whoever could solve that equation. And then every 4 years, that halves. So it halved again, 2000.
Halving.
Right, into halving. 2016, it halved, and then again, it will halve in 2020.
Okay.
And we will be at half of 12.5.
And there's a whole complex reason that all happens that we will go into at some point.
Sure.
That's really, it's a deep dive, isn't it?
It is, yeah, when you really get into mining. The whole network is based around game theory, math, and incentivizing people to do things the right way because it's more valuable to play within the rules of the network than to try to go around and cheat.
Okay.
But and that's keep, really, so we'll get into that later.
To keep this conversation concise, we'll just stick with the fact that the computers are racing to solve this, put all these transactions into a, 1 megabyte?
Yep.
Block of information, that's a freaking huge Excel spreadsheet.
Right. And that has increased there, but again, we'll just say 1 megabyte, but there's for now. So they're racing.
Keep it simple, stupid.
We won't talk about SegWit. We'll talk about that another day. So they're racing to solve these. So when I make a transaction to Cory, it goes into the mempool, which is essentially a queue. It's waiting to be included in the next block. So everybody's doing that. There's all these transactions, and the miners are clumping them together, trying to solve this complex math equation so that they get rewarded with Bitcoin. So there's your block. You got your block of transactions every 10 minutes.
They've been bundled, packaged together. Now they're a block.
But we got a blockchain. So why do we need a chain? Well, every block links the next block and the previous block through a cryptographic hash function. And again, without getting into
nerd words,
the what of that, it just proves essentially that the transactions are structured and time-stamped, and that they happened, I guess, in sequential order.
Okay.
So that you can't go back and change a transaction that happened a year ago or even yesterday without rewriting all of the subsequent blocks. So it links them together.
Okay. So you're building these blocks, and these blocks, they're building a wall of transactions that are chronologically placed in there, and you can't go pull them out because they're part of the wall now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been stamped in there. So, or going back to your book analogy, if you're writing, if you wrote our transaction on page 37 and now you're down at page 50, if you wanted to change our transaction, you'd have to erase all of those all the way back to page 37 and rewrite it, which in theory could be done, but in practice and reality is near impossibility just based off of how mining works.
Yeah.
And again, we'll get into that. But for what you need to know, it's not possible. You're not going back and changing it. So a lot of people are concerned that that's, how people can steal from you or how the network's not secure. What if they go back and change this? We'll get into it later, but it's not possible in reality.
Okay. I think I have an inkling of what that is, but we'll have to definitely get in there.
Right.
All right. So we've established now that there's all these computers all over the world racing to solve these blocks.
Yep.
To build the transactions together and validate them into a block that's going to get time-stamped,
Right.
and then we're going to build on the next block that's through all these protocols and hashes and other things.
Fancy nerd words.
It's stuck on there so that we have a continuous chronological record of all the transactions that have been made.
Yes. I think that's succinct.
Did I mouth vomit that well enough?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I'm rubbing off on you.
All right.
This word vomit jargon.
So blockchains,
Right.
Bitcoin then.
So what is blockchain? So that's just a book definition, I guess. Probably not that well. But that's a base overview of what blockchain is. But let's dig into what is blockchain.
Yeah, it's Bitcoin.
So that's the revolution of what makes Bitcoin possible. That's kind of how we eliminate the third party, the centralized organization to verify transactions.
Because it's all over the world.
Because you have the decentralization, the people keeping the books, the miners that are doing all that. That's really the revolution in Bitcoin. A lot of the other aspects of it have tried to have been replicated before, but until we had the blockchain, it wasn't possible. So that's the magic behind it. Now, that's not where it stops. That's just merely the tip of the iceberg. And that's why you hear a lot of people say, well, we like blockchain technology. So
yeah,
Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that was made possible by the blockchain. But a lot of projects, other coins, organizations are taking that blockchain and creating new and different protocols, but are still using the blockchain idea to make sure that it's decentralized, distributed. And this is where we really kind of can go down the rabbit hole. We'll give you guys a glimpse of it, but some of the things that blockchain technologies can do.
Right. So blockchain it's more this new thing that was invented, this new way of accounting that's open to everybody, that's clear to everybody, that's transparent to everybody. I just said clear and transparent.
Yeah, it's clearly crypto.
Yeah. So that's the revolutionary thing here. And that can be applied to other things besides just Bitcoin or even cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So, you have different... Everything gets lumped under the moniker of, or the label of cryptocurrency, but that's not entirely accurate because you have what are called utility tokens. So you have a lot of different companies right now that are building new business models that are going to flip the traditional business models on their head by using blockchain technology. So I'll give you a for instance, right?
Okay.
So recently, and yes, I am going to plug this, although I'm not a financial advisor, I have recently purchased some tokens in, we'll go with Shopin.
Okay, Shopin.
Right? Shopin. It's a new token, a new company that's launching, and they're using the blockchain to give people their data back. So what does that mean? So right now, if you want to go buy something online, you go to Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And they're essentially tracking everything that you buy. They're tracking all of your data, all of your metadata, all that is Cory. They
targeted
have
ads.
Targeted ads. They're going to advertise to you because you searched for X, Y, and Z, and now they know what you're into. They own your data. They have a profile of Cory that they build, maintain, update to target ads at you. Not to mention they have all of your information, your street address, all your credit cards, all your personally identifying information.
And they didn't even pay me for it. I had to pay them to give it to them.
Pay them, right? And now do you think that they can secure all that and keep that safe?
No, that's a very attractive target. You got millions of people's data. You hear about breaches like that.
Right.
Every day seems like Equifax.
Yeah.
What are some
if the NSA can be hacked,
yeah,
Amazon ain't keeping shit secret.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already been hacked. It just might not have been leaked yet, but trust me, they've got your data, and people are trying to get to it. So
kind of creepy.
Right.
They know my son's birthday, that it's coming up. They remind me, hey, you should probably buy something for your son.
Right. So, for instance, just this one area, we're talking about Shopin, their business model is based off of decentralizing that so that they don't own your data, so that you keep your own data safe, and essentially you can stay data anonymous when doing your shopping on the web.
Okay, so so I get to just buy my products without having to give them my life story.
Yeah, exactly. And you can actually be paid by the different companies that are advertising their products, because Amazon is just the middleman. They're not actually selling anything. They're just holding the goods from other companies, delivering them to you. So essentially, again, going back to cutting out the middleman, this is just another aspect of how something like that, a utility token, a new platform, can get rid of Amazon, link you directly to the merchants, and you can be rewarded directly from the merchants and not having Amazon collecting and storing all this metadata on everybody.
These are the things that blockchain can do.
It's a small glimpse. And again, we can't even imagine, because where it is now and where it'll be in 10 years will look vastly different.
Well, okay, just to speculate just a little bit, and this will definitely be a topic for a future show, but some of the things that blockchain can do, because it's this technology that's so revolutionary, that's powering this revolution. What are the other things you could elections with blockchain?
Yeah, there's a lot of companies right now that are working on voting structures, and I think we could definitely use some transparency and help to cut out some fraud in elections, federal elections, local, state elections. So if you can, and companies are working on this, different projects are working on this, but if you can figure out a way to put voting on the blockchain where everybody gets a vote that falls within certain parameters that is entitled to a vote, then you can see it open in real time, but also anonymous or pseudonymous. So you could see exactly who's voting where, verify that they're legitimate votes, but not necessarily anybody could go on and link it to it.
So you can still vote have a secret ballot.
Yes.
And just show, hey, Cory voted.
Right.
And then 10 years, they have to do a recount. That'd be a quick recount, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You can.
No more hanging chads?
No more hanging chads. Get rid of, it's not going to solve every problem. There's still going to be...
Nothing will ever solve every problem.
corruption and things like that, but it will mitigate and minimize a lot of that and make it much more open and transparent.
But that's just one more application of the blockchain. So blockchain can make shopping safer, more secure, possibly make more elections more safer, more secure, easier to account for.
Right.
Titles, deeds.
Yep, there's projects right now that are working on doing just that. So there's a company, Proppy, that they're actually working to record title and deeds on the blockchain. Which is pretty revolutionary. And they actually have a platform where you can go and purchase a house in California with Bitcoin, and that title and deed is recorded on the Proppy blockchain. That's a working product. You can go out and do that today if you had the money in Bitcoin and wanted to go that route. So.
Wow. So I guess it'd be fair to say that the things that blockchain can do, or the applications, the ways blockchain can be applied, are almost endless.
Anywhere where there is a middleman, a third party, they can essentially be eliminated, disintermediated through the application of blockchain technology in some way. So if you need somebody to hold the escrow while you're buying a house, you can write a piece of software that has already been done and being done by other organizations that eliminates the need for that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, when you start thinking about it, it's a trust network. I guess you could say blockchain is a trust network. Bitcoin is, or a trustless. It eliminates the need to trust, creates trust between two parties where there would never be trust.
Right. I don't have to know you to be able to trust that this transaction is going to work, because the thing we're using to do the transaction creates that trust.
Right. I don't trust a farmer in Australia to sell me his renewable energy power that he's produced by his solar panel farm, although I want to purchase shares of that power. I would need a third-party intermediary to deal with that, unless you created a platform that is being done. One of them is called WePower. It's essentially creating renewable energy decentralized platform where now you can trade tokens that represent renewable energy, and it's distributed, decentralized. So I can essentially trust that farmer in Australia when normally I wouldn't be able to without that platform.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And sky's the limit.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, and this is all based on cryptographic principles and applications.
Yep.
Just it's almost like
network structure.
Yeah. Well, it's clearly crypto.
It's true. It sure
that
is.
works in a plug. All right. So, hey, that's helpful.
The proceeding was an Acorn production. All opinions expressed are those of the hosts alone. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy the show, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Telegram, or email us at clearlycryptopod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.